power in awareness. There's power in awareness. Because we get to be aware of either the greater field of truth, the wholeness that is, or we can become aware of a false identity. So, like our reading said, the only way error can touch us is through having entrance into our minds or into our awareness. So error finds expression in us when we allow entrance into our thought. In other words, when we dwell on that which is not true. When we dwell on separation from God. When we dwell on lack or limitation or situations or circumstance, and we identify ourselves with that lack through the words, the powerful words of I am that. So that leads us to the conclusion that we have to be very, very, very mindful of what we attach to the I am, the power of awareness. Because we have the capacity to bring it into form through our conscious awareness. That's one of the foundational principles of New Thought. That as we think, and it's not just one little thought, it's the tendency of our thinking informs the reality of our experiences. So this second phase, or second step of our journey of awakening, called the leap into faith, is first about being clear that there is an infinite wholeness. There's infinite isness of pure spirit that contains within it the infinite possibilities beyond our comprehension. And then the second is that we are made in the image and likeness and now of pure spirit, meaning that as God creates, we create. When God says, I am that, I am, we individualize that power of awareness by saying, I am that, I am. So when we say, I am tired, our experience becomes one of being tired, because there's zillions of cells within our bodies that are just open, receptive, and waiting for that I am power, for the power of awareness to bring forth that expression. Now this sounds real simplified and too good to be true, because we say, well, that's the case. Why don't I go around saying, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire. Here's the big catch. We have to embody the I am awareness. We have to really be convinced that I am that, I am. So that deep level of conviction is what determines the I am presence. Now Neville, who's one of the old-time metaphysicians, says a person automatically becomes what they're conscious of being. A person automatically becomes what the tendency of their thinking is. Because what that does is it allows us to become aware of certain things in our experience. So the more we are aware of something, the more that we become in alignment with that, the more that we are convinced that that which we're aware of is true, the more it now manifests in our life. So that being said, is right now we are at the place where we have to really, really be careful not to buy into what's going on in our culture or in the planet, because every country is experiencing this global roller coaster in the financial realm. Yes? And for us in the United States, it's really important to be aware of it, because we are so anchored in the consumer mentality. So when our finances start to crumble, then we start to identify ourselves with crumbling and with being out of control, and oh my gosh, you know, my life is falling apart. So we all know this. So here's the deal. Do we live it? I am that I am is always being individualized in our minds. So do we live this teaching? Now, how we live this teaching is impacted by two things. First of all, we cannot be airy-fairy about this stuff. We cannot do a spiritual bypass and think that, you know, when we're up to our neck with alligators, we can't go around saying, well, God is all there is. I am one with God, and all is well. Because that's not going to work. So the Buddhists have a wonderful practice called rain. And rain allows us to be very aware and very awake, and yet not identified with the situation and circumstances. In other words, it allows us to break that habit of saying, I am tired, I am poor, I am weak, I am unworthy. And this is how RAIN works. RAIN is an acronym for, first of all, recognition. And this keeps us safe from being airy-fairy or doing spiritual bypass that I've just described. So, RAIN is recognition, R, recognition. And what are we recognizing? This is what is. I just lost my job. That is what is. So we are recognizing without the emotionality. We're just recognizing what is. The facts, just the facts, which is not the truth. Facts are never the truth. We're just recognizing this is what is. And then we move into acceptance. This is what it is. I accept that that is what is. See, if we resist what is, resistance is fear. It amplifies, and actually there's a phenomena, it locks us into that which we don't want to experience. So we cannot resist what is. So the acceptance, which is the A, allows us just to be present. This is what it is. Doesn't mean what is bad, wrong, and awful. Doesn't mean what is wonderful and glorious. It just is what it is. See that flavor I'm talking about? That allows us then to step back and investigate. That's what the I is, investigate. And what are we investigating? Is what is the ultimate truth? Or is it simply a condition? This step is really, really important because it allows us to step back and say, okay, I've lost my job. That is what it is. I accept that that's the fact. But is that the ultimate truth? Am I poor as a result? Am I unworthy as a result? Am I separated from God and the goodness of life as a result? No. Because my inherent nature goes back to last week, the wholeness that is. That I am a field of infinite possibilities. And when we can start to question ourselves back to that place of truth where we see that there is always, no matter what, there is always a field of infinite possibilities, it allows us then to recognize all the opportunities that spring up and to take advantage of them. How many times have you recognized yourself as being so tunnel vision about a situation or a circumstance? For example, in the realm of relationships, you may have just got a divorce or lost your beloved. You're so anchored in, I've lost the only man that has ever loved me or that I have ever loved. We're so tunnel vision. Oh, I am unworthy, I'm unloved, oh, woe is me. And meantime, how many people on this planet? Billions and billions and billions. And they're going, hello, I'm here with all kinds of people that love you. And you're going, shush. I'm so focused on the things I one love of my life. See what I'm saying? We do this in every area of life. Our jobs, you know? We think that I can only be an accountant. I've been trained as an accountant. We never step back and say, wow, the skills that I have embodied in that particular profession are transferable to many, many, many other professions. See, when we can step back and start investigating who I am, this infinite field of possibilities, the infinite field of life, that allows us then to expand our field, and we can start recognizing all these possibilities.